Good morning to the cute little squirrels who are going to talk about love. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, so in the background you might hear a mourning dove, or a squirrel, or a parrot, or a crow, or another kind of bird, or a dog barking, or a siren, or cars. But let's get started. All right. Have you ever seen the show Love is Blind? In that show, it's super interesting because the couples meet inside the pods and they talk behind a wall. They don't see each other's face. They don't think about work. They don't think about society. It's just you and me, baby. And it's about that emotional connection through talking. So while those talks happen, people talk about what they want in a future home. Emotions get high because they feel very connected. And then the wall goes away and they have to go back out to work, to society, and tensions start building. There's one couple called Dave and Lauren, and there's plenty of commentary about that dynamic. What I'll go into is the fact that he gets out in the real world and realizes that his whole social circle, the grapevine, has opinions about her. And she just wants them to remember the connection they had back inside the pods. And he can't. He just can't get it out of his head what everybody thinks about her. So that's rough. And the most important person in his life, whose opinion he cares about, is his sister. So I'll just use the workhorse as the sister. With the sister's opinion looming over his shoulder, that also stresses him out. And Lauren feels like, if she doesn't like me, this isn't going to work. So we have a couple of subtypes in play there. Number one, social subtype. What do my friends and family think? What will the world think if I walk out into society with you? Because being with you is not about me being happy as much as it is about what you bring to my table. What do you add to my status or detract from it? How will my reputation shift being paired with you? My identity changes when I bring someone into my life. What do they represent to the people, the community? What do they represent to my one person? The person whose shoulders I ride on, right? If we have that one person that means a lot to us and they kind of are our support, and if we haven't found a way to stand on our own 2 feet and we need them to boost us, that person's opinion matters a lot. Okay, so for Dave, it's his sister. I'm just using Love is Blind because it's something that a lot of people have seen, but how many times have you seen this play out in family members or friends or your own real life, right? Where, oops, it's a house of cards, right? If that one person comes into your life, your social circle might crumble. You may lose your one person. Could be your mom, right? If your mom doesn't like your partner, is that going to work? It's tough. I mean, seriously, love does not conquer all. Subtypes do. All right. So for her, maybe for her, having the one connection is her sense of feeling safe in the world, right? And so for Lauren, her dad isn't thrilled about certain aspects of her arrangement with finding Dave on the show. And I'm sure it bothers her. I'm sure she would love for him to be on board, but it's not like looming over her shoulder in the same way. It's just more like, here's my dad over there, and yes, that will impact my future happiness perhaps, but there's space, right? And so for Lauren, she wants to know, are we gonna make it? And dad's over there. But for Dave, this is sister. And if sister doesn't like what she sees, he can't get to her. Sister's in the way. That is the one-to-one subtype when you really care about that one person. It can be expressed in healthy ways, like let's say Lauren and her dad have a really strong one-to-one bond, but she's able to say, look, this is my person. If you love me, you will be able to accept him. Dave, if he's more enmeshed with his one-to-one expression, he will not be able to make a decision without approval from his sister. Same with society. So she, I think, is an educator. She sells curriculum. So of course she cares about society and being an impact in society. But I don't think it's like her whole identity where everywhere she goes, she's like dragging this backdrop with her. Sorry, this is a home video as I've shared in my other video. So we are not professional content creators. We are just talking about concepts through symbols. For him, I think it is a burden on his back. He carries it wherever he goes. It's like attached to his little tail, right? And so if his people don't like her, he can't like her. That is unhealthy expression of the social subtype. A healthier expression would be to say, look, when we get back in the real world, that's going to be background noise. It's always going to be there. It will never disappear like it did in the pods when love was blind and society didn't exist because we were isolated, right? So do you see how subtypes cause tension when the original connection had potential? I wouldn't say the original connection was necessarily solid enough to withstand this, which is why we're running into this. But we'll see what happens because the next release of the episodes will show us more. Okay, so this is just one of the ways that our subtypes really affect our relationships and our friendships, right? Like, let's say this is Sally and Lauren. Lauren has a good friend named Sally. And let's say Sally moves to a new apartment building and gets really involved. And maybe that becomes Sally's standard. And maybe Lauren isn't cool enough to be with her people. And so Lauren doesn't get invited to her parties. And that's unhealthy as well. The reverse could also be true. Sally could move to a new city and find cool friends, and it would mean so much to her to have Lauren come and hang out at the new house parties that she's throwing. And if Lauren isn't interested and says, let's just meet up at our usual brunch spot, just you and me, and she doesn't care about hearing about all of Sally's new friends, Sally may feel very hurt. Because Sally would feel, if you care about me, you'll care about my people. And how is it that you never ask about my people? Do you even care about me? But Lauren thinks, that's your people. I don't know them. I care about you. Do you see how that causes conflict between friends without anybody meaning to not care about somebody? They're expressing care in the ways they know how to, and they don't necessarily receive or give care in the same way. So understanding subtypes can help Lauren ask questions about Sally's friend group, even though she doesn't care. But if that helps Sally feel cared about, she might ask a few questions and then they can move on. Likewise, Sally might know Lauren gets overwhelmed when I talk about this person and that person and this person and that person and all the things we did that don't include her. Like, why is that relevant to her? So maybe Sally will cut back a little bit on it, but she might still say, hey, my friend group means a lot to me and I'm telling you all about them because you mean a lot to me and I want you to know about them because that's how I feel close to you. So in friendships, that's also how the social subtype can either feel connecting or disconnecting. And love is a part of friendship as well as family, right? So, maybe a parent, like my mom has a really high social subtype. And because my social subtype is number 2, it worked out pretty well because through my mom, I had access to so many resources. And I really appreciated it. You know, she always tried to bring me into her world. And I know about all her friends. She tells me all about it when I visit. But for another child, it might feel like mom is always talking about other people. Mom is not asking me about the things I'm interested in, right? I don't want to go to this party and meet mom's friends because she's so excited and she's not focused on me when I'm there. So subtypes can really affect parenting, relationships of all kinds. So it's just good to be aware and know that when one person's top instinct is the other person's lowest, that's a disconnect. If one person's top is somebody's second, that's a parallel sort of, we could do this together, which is how my mom's social subtype and my secondary subtype can flow better than if my mom has social as top and someone else has it at the bottom. It's hard to relate. Okay, you have to work harder. Okay, so that's a little bit about subtypes. I focused on the social subtype today, which impacts the one-to-one connection. There's another one called self-preservation, and we'll cover that another day. Thank you for listening.